You might be about to spend $15,000 on a renovation that will add exactly $0 to your appraisal value. I've watched homeowners pour their life savings into updates they swore would help the home sell, only to watch buyers walk right past those upgrades like they weren't even there. And in a few minutes, I'm going to show you the exact $500 strategy that sells home faster than most major renovations. But before we get there, we need to have a serious talk about the renovation traps I'm seeing coming up in 2026. Because the market has changed, buyer psychology has changed, and what added value in 2021 might actually destroy your return on investment in 2026. For more than a decade, I've helped countless homeowners in Florida prepare their homes for sale. And here's the pattern I see over and over again. Most people spend money in the wrong places, not because they're careless, but because they're thinking emotionally and not strategically. They're trying to make the house perfect. What they should be doing is making the house profitable. There's a massive difference. One strokes your ego, the other pads your bank account. So today, we're going to break down the renovation traps that will swallow your money whole in 2026, including the invisible updates nobody talks about, and the small tweaks that buyers value 10 times more. Let's start with the biggest emotional trap of them all, landscaping. Landscaping that looks like a botanical garden, and it costs like one too. Here's the reality. Buyers might love the idea of a lush, custom landscaping, but they don't value it enough to pay a premium for it, especially not in 2026. I saw homeowners spend $8,000 on resodding, $12,000 on complex hardscaping, $15,000 on custom tropical plants, and the appraisal came back unchanged. Buyers appreciate it, but they would never pay for it. When the market tightens, cosmetic landscaping becomes nice to have and not a value driver. And then there's the pool question. Should you add a pool before selling? If your home is under $450,000, absolutely not. You'll never recover the cost. But it's worse than that. In Florida right now, a pool isn't just a luxury feature. It's an insurance headache. For a budget-conscious buyer, a pool means higher insurance premiums, higher electric bills, and weekly maintenance costs. In most price points, buyers would rather have the lot than the liability. Now, before we talk about flooring or paint, we have to talk about the renovation trap that is unique to our current Florida market. I call this the 4-point penalty. In 2026, the sexiest renovation you can do isn't a waterfall island. It isn't a spa bathroom. It's a clean 4-point inspection. I see sellers budget $20,000 for a kitchen remodel, but they ignore the invisible issues: the 16-year-old water heater, the electrical panel that's a known fire hazard brand, the plumbing that's polybutylene, the roof that looks okay but has a birthday coming up. I'm not just saying this as an agent. I'm saying this as a homeowner who had to make this exact choice. I lived this recently in my own residence. My wife and I were ready to pull the trigger on new flooring throughout the main living areas. We had the samples picked out. We were excited to change the look of our house. It was going to cost about $12,000. But then I looked at the age of my roof. It wasn't leaking. It didn't look bad, but it was sitting at 17 years old. I knew that in Florida, that roof was a ticking time bomb for my insurance. So, as painful as it was, we took that flooring money and we bought a new roof instead. It wasn't fun writing that check. Nobody walks into my house and says, "Wow, nice shingles." I couldn't show it off on Instagram, but I slept better knowing the asset was actually secure. And that's the lesson for 2026. Here's the nightmare scenario I see happen constantly. We get a buyer. They love your new kitchen. They go to get an insurance quote and they get denied. Or the quote comes back at $6,000 a year because the roof only has 3 years of life left. Suddenly, your $20,000 kitchen upgrade doesn't really matter. The deal dies on the vine because the house is functionally obsolete in the eyes of the insurance company. If you have $10,000 to spend, don't buy granite. Buy a new electrical panel and a new water heater. It's not as exciting, but it's the only renovation that literally keeps the deal alive. In 2026, insurability is the new luxury. Now let's talk about the aesthetic trap. Luxury flooring in a mid-range neighborhood. This is the over-improvement issue. And it kills me to see because sellers mean well. But here's the truth almost no agent tells you. You cannot out-renovate your neighborhood. Luxury flooring like engineered hardwood, oversized porcelain tile, custom wide plank oak, it looks incredible. But in a $350,000 to $500,000 community, buyers won't pay tens of thousands of more just because your floors are nicer. Why? Because buyers shop by price bracket first and emotional reaction second. They prioritize square footage and bedroom count over premium finishes. They will always choose the bigger house with laminate floors over the smaller house with imported wood. If the renovation doesn't change the appraisal, doesn't change the comps, and doesn't change the buyer pool, it shouldn't change your bank account either. Now, let's move into the bathroom because this is where I see $15,000 vanish into the air. The trend right now is the massive car wash shower. Sellers are ripping out bathtubs left and right and putting in frameless glass showers. Here's the rule. If you have a luxury home with 3 or more bathrooms, go ahead, remove the tub in the master. But if you have a 2-bathroom home and you remove the only bathtub in the house to put in a walk-in shower, you've just alienated about 50% of your buyers. Families with toddlers need a tub. People who just enjoy a bath need a tub. I walked a home recently where the seller spent $12,000 converting the only tub into a stunning shower. It looked like a hotel, but every young family that walked in said the exact same thing. Where do you wash the dog? Where do we wash the baby? They didn't see luxury. They saw a $12,000 renovation they would have to rip out immediately. Do not renovate based on HGTV trends. Renovate based on functionality. Let me prove this to you with a real comparison that still shocks homeowners. Home A, no recent updates, original flooring, basic landscaping. It sold a little over $500,000. Home B, new flooring, new paint, new fixtures, $22,000 of upgrades, and it sold for a little over $500,000. Looks good on the surface, right? But until you look at the net profit. Home A netted more money. Home B paid for upgrades that didn't really move the needle. A seller called me recently after spending $18,000 updating their kitchen. They were proud. New cabinets, expensive countertops, but buyers in that area weren't paying for premium kitchens. They cared about the school zone and the yard space. That seller kept the house for 62 days. Meanwhile, a nearby home with an older kitchen and modest updates sold in 9 days for only $7,000 less. That seller kept the $18,000. The renovated seller lost it. Updates guarantee risk unless they directly increase buyer demand. Before I show you the $500 strategy that outperforms most renovation budgets, let me give you something that will make this entire process easier. On your screen, you'll see a QR code. Scan it, and you'll get the Sunshine State Handbook. It is a completely free guide for Florida sellers preparing for 2026. Inside, I've included the 4-point checklist, the exact list of items insurance companies are looking for, so you don't get blindsided. Whether you're selling in March, July, or next December, this guide will save you money before you swing a hammer. All right, let's get into that $500 strategy. You don't need $15,000 in renovations. Most sellers simply need the $500 prep plan. Number 1 is a professional cleaning. It costs about $150 to $250. Buyers feel cleanliness in their body before they noticed upgrades. Number 2 is a lighting overhaul. Spend $100 matching LED bulbs. 3,000 Kelvin to 4,000 Kelvin brightness creates space. Number 3 is simple staging. It's free. Declutter, remove oversized furniture, open the curtains. And step 4 is paint. But there's a major warning here. For the last 5 years, the advice was paint it gray. Stop. Don't do this in 2026. The millennial gray look now signals to buyers that the home is a cheap flip. It feels cold. It feels dated. Buyer psychology has shifted to organic modern. They want warmth instead of gray. You want to look at warm whites like Greek villa or soft beiges. Painting your house cool gray in 2026 actually makes it look older than it is. If you're thinking about selling in 2026, here's the truth. You don't need to remodel your way to profit. You need to strategize your way to a sale. If you want to know exactly which updates your home needs and which ones you should avoid entirely, call or text the number on the screen. I'll walk through your home with you, line by line, and help you build a plan that saves you money, protects your list price, and makes buyers fall in love the moment they walk through the door. Renovate smart, update with purpose, and in 2026, spend only if it makes you money. This has been the Florida Real Estate Insider. I am still Tom McNamara. See you in the next one.